you had Duke when the bracket came out. You picked Duke as your national champ, and they have just blown people off the floor. I remember watching the ACC tournament. They're playing Wake Forest. You see Cooper Flagg come down on that ankle, and they had another starter go out with a dislocated shoulder that was going to be that ended his season. You're thinking, okay, is this falling apart for them? But they've been just phenomenal since the tournament started. You mentioned Caleb Love, 28 points when they closed out Coach K's career when in the Final Four when he was at North Carolina. Does he have to have a game like that for them to even have a chance?
It might require that, because the thing about Duke, the reason why I picked them and a lot of people are picking them is because of their defense. They're one of the top defensive teams in the country. They've been top 3 all season long on KenPom. They're also the tallest team in the country. Yeah. That's not just inside. I mean, you got a 7'10", 7'2", Kaman Malawach, and Cooper Flagg is 6'9". Con Knipple is 6'7". It's a shame they lost Malik Brown, but also their guard, Sion James at the point, is 6'6", and Tyrese Proctor is 6'4". So you've got size all through the lineup. So, they're a team that can withstand a bad shooting night. And then when they do shoot it well, Proctor goes 7 for 8 from 3 against Baylor. I mean, they're unbeatable. They're going to shoot like that. I think that Duke, and I felt this for, at least a month or so. Everyone keeps talking about the ACC, and the ACC's down, and that's undoubtedly true. But it's hard to beat a team by 30 points. I mean, they're not like squeaking through these games. They were crushing people. And then they played a very good Illinois team, which last I checked is not in the ACC. They played at Madison Square Garden in late February, beat them by 47 points, biggest loss in the history of that program. And then 8 days later, Illinois went into Michigan and won at Michigan by 20. So that's the level that Duke has been playing at, and people have been way too dismissive of them because of the ACC thing. So obviously I'm not saying they're underrated. They're Duke. A lot of people pick them. I know they're the betting favorite to win it all, but I just think they check all of the boxes that you look for a team to win the championship.
As somebody who's like not plugged in on basketball the way we are with football, it's like kind of interesting to me, and I'm sure that Coach K had a lot to do with this, but that Duke is still in the position that it's in, without the greatest coach in college basketball history, or one of them. Like, what is it do you think about this Duke team, this Duke program that, did he build it to withstand, time? I mean, I just don't want them to win it because I don't want it to take away from the accomplishments that he had. Is that a weird thing to think?
Well, it's certainly not going to take away from, what he did is done. I mean, that's already, that hay's already in the barn. It's actually, Ari, it's a great point because, and sort of towards the end of our coverage, Adam Lefko threw this at me in a similar way, in that, we always talk about how hard it is to follow the man. And, Jon Scheyer, now in his 3rd year, is doing an amazing job. And he's doing it in a way that's even like a little bit different. Like, Jon Scheyer was the first college coach to hire a general manager. Now everybody has a general manager. Now these GMs are making more than some head coaches, and especially in the football world. And he had this woman, Rachel Baker, who was a Harvard Business School grad, who was working for Nike and running their EYBL program. And he didn't know what the job was going to be or what they were going to call her or what she was going to do. He just knew that he wanted her under his tent. So we'll call you general manager. And, every general manager's job is different at different schools. But the point is, that's just one example. And then like last year, they go out in the NCAA tournament. They lost in the Elite Eight to NC State. They almost lost to Houston in a game where Houston lost its best player, Jamal Shead, All-America point guard, in the opening minutes, and still almost beat Duke in the game. And Duke oftentimes through the years has been these teams that, they're a great offensive team. They shoot threes. They play really well in Cameron, but then they run into a team like Tennessee, or remember Frank Martin's South Carolina team beat them, just grown men, physical. And so no one else is trying to do it with one and done guys. So Jon Scheyer is bringing in, Cooper Flagg and these one and done freshmen, which nobody else is doing. People say you can't do it, using the transfer portal to get older. So he's just doing a lot of, he's young, he's 37. He's very forward thinking. He's not in there thinking about all these changes like, oh man, this sucks. this is not how we used to do it. He's being forward thinking. It's like Wayne Gretzky skating to the puck, and it has become a very, very good tactician in terms of the way he's coaching the team. I mean, he's very, very impressive, and it really, Ari, is not being pointed out enough. Like, he followed Coach K. It's really hard to do. And let me also say this, because Coach K took a lot of grief for the farewell tour and, you know, the head coach. But Jon Scheyer had a full year as the assistant, named the head coach in waiting, to button things up, to be ready, to get a full year ahead of time to get ready and get his recruiting in order. So it was a very smart move by Coach K, straight out of the West Point playbook, to have your top lieutenant there ready to take over, and Jon Scheyer hasn't missed a beat.
So what he's saying is that Nick Saban should have done a farewell tour, Andy, right? Is that what you heard?
We should have had a Jon Scheyer. I don't know who that would have been. Robbie Zell, the guy who was the walk-on who did the great Nick Saban impression, who's the he's an assistant at Wake Forest now. So maybe that would have been it. You bring home the W with the ultimate tailgate package. The burger box from Whataburger is perfect for every occasion. Comes with 10 single or double burgers. Just get the doubles. Come on. Respect your guests and get the doubles. With or without cheese, your pick of sauces, and all the fixings which you can customize. I am a big fan of the grilled jalapeños. I think you probably should be too. Keep it basic or go wild. It'll be a slam dunk. Order online from April 4th through the 7th. I think we know what's going on April 4th through the 7th. And you earn double reward points. But it's great anytime. Plus, you can also get the What a Wings Party Pack, 72 boneless tender bites, a family fry box, and your choice of sauce. So, order online April 4th through 7th to earn double reward points. Order anytime for delicious Whataburger. Bring home the W with Whataburger. But Seth, Duke is not so hateable anymore. And I don't know. One, I think Scheyer has a lot to do with it. I remember watching him. I was watching his press conference, and this was after Cooper Flagg got hurt in the ACC tournament, because we were about to do a show. I was trying to figure out what we were going to say, and I wanted to get the latest information. And so I'm watching his press conference, and I texted these guys. I'm like, this guy is so freaking smooth. There's no football coach this smooth, and he just kind of gets it. Reminds me a little bit of like Eric Spoelstra with the Heat, or maybe even JJ Redick. But with more coaching experience. And then you got Cooper Flagg, who he's going to be the number one pick in the NBA draft, but he's not like the typical Duke star who kind of annoys you. Like, he's fun to watch.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. I think it's true on all counts. I mean, I never, Coach K won so big that it's like, I mean, I grew up a Redskins fan rooting against the Cowboys and rooting against the Yankees. And I mean, I understand that, but there was a degree of vitriol directed at Duke and Coach K that was just dumb. Obviously Saban's gotten a lot of that.
Yep.
And these guys are sort of old school guys. They're not always feeling so warm and fuzzy. So maybe that's part of it. I think some of it goes back to Christian Laettner, who was certainly not likable. And so there's a lot going on there, but I can only tell you that I find Jon Scheyer to be incredibly thoughtful, incredibly kind, very humble. I think in this environment where players are truly empowered to make money, to transfer, to leave for the pros, you can't, this my way or the highway. First of all, I don't think that ever worked. But I think it especially doesn't work now. You got to be a good person. You got to treat people well. You got to be somebody who because if they don't like you, they'll just go somewhere else. You don't have to put up with it. So I think he's managing that really well. I mean, what you see is what you get. He's very intelligent, and he has that blend that I think a lot of great achievers have, which is supreme confidence and great humility. Like, he knows he's good and he's competitive, but he's not full of himself. He doesn't it's about the job. It's not about him. And if that weren't the case, his team wouldn't be winning the way that it is.
Seth, I would be remiss to not ask you, as an Arizona grad, as we look at these matchups here, in college basketball, we do a lot of talking on this show in terms of football and comparing the two and the brands of the sport and whatever. And I feel like in basketball, you have sturdy brands that are just, everybody knows Duke and North Carolina, right? But I went to a basketball school, and Arizona hasn't won a national championship in now almost 20 years. Wait, would it be, what's 97? This is a bad at math podcast. That's almost 30 years, right?
It would be 28
yeah.
years, right? 23 years.
But Arizona is viewed, or I think nationally, it's at one point was viewed on the pantheon of like basketball elite programs. And they've had a lot of early exits and stuff. From your perspective, how big is this game for Arizona and even college basketball in general? If Arizona is able to win it and kind of reclaim some of their past glory and give the sport another power that is humming, like, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's just the NCAA tournament. NCAA tournament is just hard. It requires a lot of luck. You can go over, Kelvin Sampson the last few years. And what he needs to be able to break through. Mark Few, how many times did he knock at the door to break through? And he was been able to play in 2 national championship games. So I think it's only a matter of time for Tommy Lloyd and Arizona. Again, similar to a Jon Scheyer, that kind of a little older than John, but spent a lot of time on the bench at Gonzaga. Came to Arizona when it had gone through some things and lost its coach in Sean Miller. And he's been good. I mean, recruiting good players, went right, leaning into the international thing, which was really his bread and butter that he did for Gonzaga for so long. And he's a good coach. He's a good coach, and his guys play for him. They had a tough, as you know, Ari, a tough injury early in the season. Montevious Krivas was supposed to be their best big guy, and he was hurt early on. They kind of had him in and out of the lineup. Finally had to shut him down. That was a big time loss. And then they had Henry Vasar, who replaced him, but maybe wasn't quite ready at that time to be the guy. And now they had to force feed him. Took him some time to get going. So, they're a good team. And then, playing in the Big 12 is different deal now than being in that Pac-12. So it's been, an adjustment all around. And so, he had the loss to Princeton a couple of years ago and had to go through that and has come out on the other side of that. And now, beat a really good Oregon team down to the last possession, managed to escape. That could easily have been. It's funny, like they could easily have lost to Oregon, easily. And the whole narrative of the program is different. Sweet 16 versus the second round is a huge difference in the minds of the public. We understand that it's one game difference. It's one possession difference. So now you're in the Sweet 16 and now you get the best team in the tournament. And on the one hand, you're playing with house money, but on the other hand, you need a little bit of luck to be able to get further. So I think it's just only a matter of time. Arizona is a great basketball program. It's a great job. And I think he's a great fit for it. So it's only a matter of time.